Well, welcome to Sakshi Apologetics Network, English series on refuting Rajiv Malhotra and his false claims with his fake scholars that he's bringing on day by day, trying to intimidate Christian faith and especially followers of Christ in India. So in this episode, we will be looking at various claims that the so-called scholar who claimed to be a research scholar in the beginning and then claimed to be an MDiv course registry and then claimed to be passing that course and then claiming to be distance education and so on and so forth. So we will be discussing about few of those issues that we have seen in their previous video, which was published on Rajiv Malhotra's channel, and we will be discussing few points from that video. So to discuss those issues, we have our brothers, Brother George and Brother Bibu with us. I would like to introduce Brother George and Brother Bibu, and welcome Brother George and Brother Bibu into this session.
Thank you, Brother.
Yeah, we will be discussing few of these items as we go ahead. And just to begin with, I would like to ask you, George. We have seen quite a number of videos from Rajiv Malhotra, especially in one of those videos he says that Britishers introduced caste system, or Mughals introduced caste system into India, whereas in India there is no caste system. It's all brotherhood and all of that fake that he propagates. Out of this propagation media that he hires, and out of those false claims, and he brings up this person again, and this person says that when she goes and plays with Christians and Muslims or non-Brahmin castes, when she gets back to home, she's asked, or as she says in that video, she'll be asked to wash herself and remove her clothes and wear different clothes before she gets into the actual house. So how do we see it? Like, where does this person Rajiv Malhotra stands? And we invited him for a public debate. We invited him for a discussion, and he ran away anyways. But how do you see this guy?
So if Rajiv Malhotra says that the Britishers have brought in caste system in the name of divide and rule, then he should accept that Bhagavad Gita, as they believe in, was introduced by the Britishers. The Manu Smriti was written by the Britishers, because Bhagavad Gita in chapter 18 verse 42 to 44, it speaks about the caste system, and Manu chapter 1 91 and many verses speaks about the caste system and the rights of Brahmins, exclusive rights of Brahmins to educate themselves, and it speaks about the right of a Shudra only to serve. Shudra doesn't have any rights,
right?
And they have to only serve. So if he says Britishers have bought in, then he should accept that all these things were written by the Britishers. And if he says that this existed from time immemorial, or since ages, as they speak of Bhagavad Gita, Ramayana, and things like that, then the Britishers weren't the ones who introduced it.
Or maybe Mughals.
Then he should accept the history according to his claim. As I spoke, they can go and refer back to Bhagavad Gita and look up what it says there.
So you're saying if caste system was introduced by Mughals, then Bhagavad Gita should have been written after Mughals.
Or at least by the Mughals.
By the Mughals. If caste system was introduced or prolonged from Mughals by Britishers, then Bhagavad Gita and all other, like Manusmriti, everything that you're mentioning, should have been written or during these two regimes, is what you're trying to say.
So that means the religion is very recent than Christianity, and very recent than even Sikhism.
So that proves the claims of Rajiv Malhotra.
And he's not a scholar at all.
Oh, yeah.
And how does he think to make such claims? And in fact, I would say if you read history, the Brahmins were the ones who partnered with the Britishers, and they were called revenue Brahmins. They collected tax, extracting from the workers and the population of India, and they collected tax and gave it to the British. That means they helped the British to loot India.
Okay, so Bibu, what do you say? Like, do you still think that caste system exists in India? If it doesn't exist, based on this video, if it doesn't exist, Rajiv Malhotra scores a mark. Yeah. And if it exists, then Esther Dhanraj, who calls herself an ex-Christian, actually she's an ex-Hindu, she gains a mark. No matter who gains the mark, does that video still be reliable?
No, in fact, it raises serious concerns when you look at the video, because Kamakshi seems to be calling herself a Brahmin, particularly to convey this point that they were a family which was kept from mingling with Christians and Muslims. So much so that even when they went out to play, they had to come back and then change the clothes before entering into the house.
Yeah.
Okay, so that is really practicing untouchability. Okay, I mean, if we were to take Kamakshi's statements as the standard, and if we were to understand that this is how Brahmins are taught to practice, then it really raises questions about whether Brahmins in India still practice untouchability.
Yeah, or maybe Brahmins in even US, like Rajiv Malhotra, is he still practicing untouchability, or is he still promoting untouchability sitting in US?
Yeah, because they might hypocritically correspond with everybody else and speak and mingle with everybody else, and then go back home and wash themselves with a ceremonial cleansing because they're defiled by interacting with somebody who is a non-Brahmin, which is really very concerning, in fact.
Okay.
I mean, this exposes the kind of religion that Brahmanism is, in fact.
Okay.
I'm not talking about Brahmins as a community in that sense, but Brahmanism as a thought, as an ideology, as a religion,
right?
Which makes certain people untouchables.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we need to be thinking about these in these lines as well. Whether Rajiv Malhotra is true or Kamakshi Dhanraj or Esther Dhanraj is true. If one is true, the other stands false. So we need to question. And as Kamakshi Garu really asked in the second video, that let Indian Christians question. Let us question this video as well, right? So as a practice of that questioning, we will be continuing this video with few other things and asking Brother Bibu. Bibu, she says that her mother was she fell ill with a very minor whatever ailment she had, and during that ailment, if a pastor could a pastor or a neighbor, whatever she mentioned, a Christian basically, he could sell Jesus to them.
Yeah.
And and at the same time, she also says we are Orthodox Hindus, and we washed ourselves ceremonially when we touch people and all. But with that kind of Orthodox Hindu, with that kind of strong Hindu roots or Hindutva roots in them, a pastor could sell Jesus to them.
Okay.
What kind of how much vulnerable can a small ailment can bring into your life that you sell away, or you purchase some other god and you sell away your faith?
Yeah. In fact, she has now claimed to be an ex-Christian. She has left her Christian faith, and so she wants to also undermine the conversion of the family and show it in a light as if that conversion was not valid. So she tries to present some stories before us, which is riddled with many contradictions. I mean, if, like you rightly point out, she says that her mother was suffering from some minor illness, and then one really wonders when she says this put the family in a vulnerable situation to the extent that somebody can come and sell a religion to them, which is quite contrary to their orthodox traditional religion that they have been following until then. And this religion which they were willing to buy now is the same religion with which they were not supposed to even mingle.
Right. Yeah.
It is a religion of the untouchable, if I may so call it.
Yeah, in their opinion.
In their opinion, at least. Yeah. So, the vulnerability was so serious with a minor illness that they would even be willing to buy a religion of the untouchable in exchange for their orthodox traditional great religion, whatever it was.
Well, that calls for a question: how strong this religion, or what good this religion made to that family. And
in fact, the focus is on the contradiction that it is a minor sickness, and then she would say that made them vulnerable.
Right.
This entire testimony is riddled with many contradictions like that. If you go through, in fact, if I can point out a couple of more.
Please go ahead. You're saying that the statements Esther or Kamakshi Dhanraj is making are not reliable.
Yes.
They're not credible based on her own explanation.
Correct.
Right? Yeah.
Because she makes a statement and then makes another statement which goes about to just contradict what she had said earlier.
Okay.
So this is one example. And then she goes on to say, that when Rajiv Malhotra asks her about her father's Christian faith, she says, thinking back now, she would say her father is a skeptic.
Right.
He was always confused between his traditional faith and the new found faith that he is now into. So that is one statement she makes.
Yeah.
And then she says, they even paid the price of being ostracized by all their relatives for embracing Christianity. So one would really wonder whether somebody would be a skeptic and pay such a huge price of being ostracized by the relatives for something that they are skeptical about for 20 long years.
Right.
Okay. And another thing is, she says she says that her father was a skeptic, and then she again goes on to say in another statement that her father was a Bible-believing Christian.
Right.
Okay.
Right. So isn't that a contradiction in itself?
No, absolutely. I mean, a Bible-believing Christian who is a skeptic.
What do you say, George? Is it possible that a Bible-believing Christian be a skeptic?
I mean, maybe a scholar who went around places, didn't know what to do, and joined a correspondence course by paying huge amount of money. When the college website itself says that they offer the cheapest courses in US, and even the regular courses do not cost $100,000.
In Telugu videos, she said all of that. She was into debts because of this course.
So for a scholar like that who sits at home and studies, and for a scholar who doesn't know any languages, biblical languages, and maybe she doesn't understand what's a contradiction at all.
But she claims she studied apologetics.
See, what I would say is, pointing out to the past when she was speaking in Telugu, what we see is her contradictions were pointed out by a sister called Jay Geeta, I think, and she could point out as
You mean somebody
who hasn't studied apologetics, somebody who hasn't went to a theological college could punch holes into her argument and say that she committed fallacy after fallacy when she was speaking. One statement contradicts the other. In the same breath, she says that her father was a skeptic, and then she says that her father is a Bible-believing Christian. There are many things that she says. She commits an hasty generalization too. Even Rajiv Malhotra, he generalizes that Christians, So he says that Indian Christians don't think, they don't ask critical questions. They are offended by the questions that
he
the
claims
critics
he's a
ask.
great American, so he obviously will look down upon Christians.
A proud American.
A proud American.
Yeah.
So he will obviously look down upon Indians.
Because he's bent on breaking India anyways.
So as an American, he wants to break India. So he has joined with the white, should we say that? Or the Britishers, or the immigrant Britishers to America. So should we say that? I mean, then he's, he should, we don't know how we should treat him. I mean, when he's saying that, he makes an hasty generalization there, saying, as if every Christian is that way. She too speaks like that. In fact, she commits the fallacy of attributing her experience to the Christians. When she started off as a Christian, she didn't have any intellectual pursuits regarding the faith.
Actually, this raises a question again, that like she claims or she says, I mean, I also interacted with her family members, and they also confirmed that their father is well read, well educated. He can think independently, and he's a bold guy. He takes decisions on his own, etc., etc., etc. Being an Indian, so he is gullible, according to her, and according to the stage that she's sharing with Shri Rajiv Malhotra Sahab. According to Rajiv Malhotra Sahab, Kamakshi Dhanraj or Esther Dhanraj's father is gullible. He's unread. He doesn't ask critical questions. He is he is very weak in his faith. He fell for emotion or whatever. What do you think, people? What made him follow or to be ostracized for 20 years of the faith that he's following?
Yeah. So in fact, Kamakshi in her video also goes on to acknowledge that her father is well read and well exposed. Okay, but while acknowledging that, she says, that when she thinks back now, the miraculous healing that her mother underwent for that whatever small ailment is by no stretch of imagination a miracle. So she's saying that her well-read, well-exposed father has an error of judgment. He couldn't discern things properly as she is able to discern now.
Yeah.
What we understand is 25 years back, she was a child of 12, 13 years when all this incident happened. So now she's in a position to think back and analyze better what she saw in her childhood, what her father could not really discern when he was actually going through. So this is another contradiction that I find in her.
And this also raises another question to you, George. She herself says that her father and her family, entire family, was ostracized by their community for accepting Christianity, right? So do you think that based on Rajiv Malhotra saying that we accept everyone, we embrace everyone, and etc., 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 all these stories that he makes out. So is he agreeing now that that ostracizing happens in India for being a Christian?
I mean, that's what Esther Kamakshi said, and in fact, Rajiv Malhotra, though he speaks that the ostracizing doesn't happen, sometimes, but so when Rajiv Malhotra says that people would be ostracized for becoming Christians, and especially a Brahmin family, person coming from a Brahmin family or a high caste Hindu would go through that experience, though he denies it, he would go through that experience because they assume that these guys have gone to follow the religion of the Shudra or the untouchable. So because of that, they would start treating the other person that way. And in fact, the Manu is ingrained in their mind and it cannot go. In fact, the Indian mindset thinks about caste, and we have spoken in so many videos, and we have condemned the caste system within the church as well, and told that the Bible doesn't support caste system. Only the Manusmriti, the Gita, Bhagavad Gita supports caste system. So if someone wants to follow the Bible sincerely, I mean, they shouldn't be following the caste. And in fact, there is from a Christian side, the approach is very friendly, even to the unbelieving, ostracizing relatives.
But interestingly, she also says that her father and mother, they never imposed their newly converted religion onto the children. How do you see this, George?
See, in fact, I see it as a contradiction when she's saying this, because on one hand, she speaks as if she was very gullible. Now she's very intelligent. She has decided, and but her father and mother gave her own choice to decide even back then. So she has made her own choice. Didn't follow outrightly her father's and mother's footsteps. That means she made a volitional, deliberate choice to be a Christian. And she has come back. But what makes the brothers and the relatives who have become Christian to continue in the same ostracizing in the Christian faith, where they have to go through that experience of being ostracized by the relatives.
Right.
They're continuing in the same thing. And she categorically mentions that her brothers and her relatives, whoever was part of the family, went through the experience of individually making that choice. She, maybe she made a choice at one point, her brothers and whom we spoke to, they made a choice at a different point, not along with her.
Yeah.
That means it was an individual choice.
Yeah.
So what is the the vulnerability of her parents was different then. What is the vulnerability of her brothers?
Right.
And what was the vulnerability of hers?
Who sold Jesus to
Who
them?
sold Jesus to them then? That means according to her, at least from this video, the conversion of her parents really didn't affect them much because it was a freedom given and the choice was made later.
Right.
So maybe it had a little effect, but not much, because the choice was made later. That means they contemplated it. Maybe her brothers would have done some research and study about their religion too.
Yeah. So what we see today in the community, Brother Bibu, is we obviously see that kind of freedom from the parents is not always given to children. But in this case, Kamakshi herself says that their father and mother gave them the freedom to choose.
Yes.
The religion was not imposed on them. That was the words that she used. Right. How do you see this? I mean, do you see that Christianity is sold to people, is forced upon people, is manipulated and then ingrained into people, or even the family members are not doing this in this case? In your own words, how do you see this?
Well, first of all, I really respect this family, which has given that freedom to the children to understand Christianity and then come into it. Because I can kind of see the maturity of the parents in understanding Christian faith, that it is not something that can be imposed. It is something that has to be volitionally received. So I really appreciate that choice that was given to them. I wish everybody understood this, that Christianity is not something that can be imposed. It doesn't come by birth. It doesn't come by force. It doesn't come by alluring somebody into it. It is somebody's personal choice, in fact.
Yeah.
And in fact, that's why the imposing aspect of Hinduism, in reconversion or Dharmapasi, it is imposing
Which is being funded
allurement as also.
which is being funded by Rajiv Malhotra.
Yeah.
He begs money for that. He has these websites, you can see it on screen, where he asks money. He begs money to divide India, to break India, and to reconvert people by force and by allurement, by the policies of the government, by bringing in presidential orders and stuff like that, right? So we all know it.
Yeah. So the reconversion or Dharmapasi happens because a low caste person cannot be a Brahmin. He is a low caste by birth. A Brahmin cannot be somebody else. So they are by birth whatever they are. It is not a choice. So if even that's why they keep saying that everyone in India is a Hindu, because by birth you are a Hindu, according to them at least. Though we choose to follow something else, we have denied whatever the Bhagavad Gita and everything prescribes about caste system. We have chosen to follow what is equal, gives equal status.
What kind of worldview is this, George? And what kind of worldview do you think this is? Because Rajiv Malhotra says that to the audience, he says, you see, these guys are not gullible, low caste, easily manipulatable people. These are high caste Brahmins. He says like that on the video.
Yes.
What does he mean? I mean, what does he actually mean when he says these are not low caste, feeble or weak people? These are high caste Brahmins. What kind of? He lives in US and he practices this kind of caste system in US. Isn't this discrimination?
Absolutely. No, I would say that being a Brahmin, he has bought into the Brahmanism or Manuvad, as we say in Hindi. So he has bought into that and he sold himself completely to it. And from that perspective, he's speaking and he's arguing that something like Gandhi, as he said, these people who convert are like cows who do not think and they do not analyze and think and get into that faith. But they simply get into the faith just like a cow is driven. These people come into the faith. Then Rajiv Malhotra, I think, at least would agree that Ambedkar, who supported conversion and he himself converted, and he said that I'm not a Hindu at all. I don't want to be a Hindu. And he went to something else, and that means he supported conversion. And when he supported conversion, and he was a Shudra, he was an untouchable, he was not a thinking person. I think he was much better than Rajiv Malhotra. And at least in education wise,
the fake scholar may disagree with you. He is at par, or at least he is way better than all these scholars.
Even Ambedkar?
Oh yeah.
Come on. I would
what did
totally
Ambedkar do to
disagree.
this nation? If you look at this guy, he begs for nation, and he writes 3 books with that begged money, and he sends it to divide India, or break India. What is Ambedkar?
Better than Ambedkar, Rajiv Malhotra, it must be a joke. I mean, I know Rajiv Malhotra intellect is to such a level that I don't know whether he would
I call him
understand.
fake.
No, his intellectual level is to such a degree that I don't know whether he would even understand what Ambedkar says in few of his books. It is at that level. Rajiv Malhotra, in the same video as he interviews Kamakshi, they both contradict each other.
Yeah.
So at so many places,
Yeah.
and he doesn't realize that he is committing hasty generalization. So
Well,
many
you
places.
speak technical terms like that, he'll go Google it.
See, that's the level. If you're comparing with Ambedkar, sorry. I mean,
Yeah.
sorry to, I would totally disagree that he is no way that you can compare him with, such a stalwart like Ambedkar.
Yeah, so Bibu, when Kamakshi speaks about Indian Christians, she says Indian Christians have become more persistent now, and based on her excellent research that she made, she understood that the church has become more persistent these days, and they have developed these apologetics, this and that, and then Rajiv Malhotra comments, oh, so much for a scholarship like this, and he goes on stating like that. What do you think about it?
In fact, she says the Christians have evolved now to be persistent converters. That's what she says.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, if she has really studied the church history, I mean, starting from the apostolic era, Christianity has always been a disciple-making religion. It has always taught and imparted this faith to people all around. I mean, and in fact, that was a great commission given by Jesus Christ to the church.
Oh, yeah. And we are not ashamed of it.
Yeah, we are not ashamed of it. And so, I mean, I don't know what is evolution about it. Maybe her understanding is evolving now, so that she's able to see that in a better light now. But we have always been like that. I mean, she says this in a context where she says, back then there was no Christian bashing 25 years back. Again, that raises questions. But I mean, even Rajiv Malhotra tries to give her some relief there by asking, were you too young to discern if there was some attack against the Hindu faith? She says, no, it was not about being too young, but back then there was no Hindu bashing. But what she needs to understand is that the critical evaluation of a religion was always a part of every comparative study, and every religion was critiqued.
Yes.
Including Christianity, Hinduism, Islam, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So
probably
she's perhaps now new into it.
Oh yeah. With all her scholarship, probably she's evolving now.
Yeah.
And trying to see what went into the history of humankind.
Yeah.
I would like to point out that she speaks about a voluminous book before her on the desk on church history. I mean, I really doubt whether she read that book because. Had she read...
Give her the benefit of doubt.
Okay, maybe she would have read it. Yeah. I don't know whether she read the Bible in that case, because, the Bible letters, at least if you read the introduction of any study Bible, you would come to know that most of the letters and, even the Gospel of John was in response to cultic faiths that were springing up. So it was an apologetic. It was a response to Gnosticism and, many cultic faiths. So right from the apostles' time, it was a faith which interacted with other faiths and responded to critical evaluation.
Right.
And in fact, Athanasius, if you see, he responded to critical evaluation.
Yeah, then Rajiv Malhotra might ask, when did he live in Rajiv Gandhi's era or Indira Gandhi's era?
Why would he ask that?
That's his scholarship.
I mean, maybe, it is just like what the present government is doing.
What I'm asking you, George, is, use simple words, otherwise you'll have to go Google again.
I mean, maybe, see, there are many people, if you read Augustine, he responded to critical evaluation. He responded to critiques.
Oh, Augustine, the same one that went to Little Flower School.
No, I mean, he was a 4th century monk. He was from Hippo.
Yeah. So you're talking about 3rd century, 4th century, 5th century. So Christianity has been interacting with other faiths from that time.
Why I mentioned this is, for all the scholarship that Kamakshi is brought forward, that, she's a big scholar and all with a big book before a desk, I raised these questions because these people were interacting and these people were apologetic about the faith with other religions, other faiths. And she says that, now these people have become, aggressively critiquing or, aggressively evangelistic and something like that. It was always like that. I mean, right from the beginning, the apostles were like that.
Right.
And in fact, Jesus was like that. In the Jewish faith, he critiqued the scholars of his day, even at the age 12. So, I mean, we follow Jesus' example. And, I don't know what she learned in church history then. And so much for his scholarship. And that's why I think they failed her. She confesses that, right? That they failed her. And maybe she produced, stuff like this, which is so shallow. I don't know. See, one more thing that I would like to point out is,
they would call it ad hominem.
See, no, I'm rightly speaking, if she is a scholar, then she should know the languages first. And I train people, I train young people in languages. So we have people who are young, who speak, who read from the Greek Bible.
Well, your son, he's like, what, 8?
Yeah. So, if I hand over a Greek Bible to her, I don't know whether she'll be able to read. And she claims to be a scholar of the Bible. Come on, that must be a joke. And, we need not boast about an MDiv. See, Master of Divinity, which doesn't teach you to read the original text, right? In the original language that which was written in.
Yeah, so this is just a bumper sticker to attract, to just give a pumping light on her for the other faiths who do not understand what the study is actually.
Yeah,
so this is just a beginner's study for people who have a graduation in any field. They can get into theology.
Even what she speaks of, when she speaks about how to study, she speaks about when, what, where, and stuff like that. Right. That we teach in Sunday school.
Well, that raises a question.
She didn't go to Sunday school. That's what she says.
Right, yeah.
But, had she gone, had she been saved, had she gone to Sunday school, at least a good Sunday school would teach to study the Bible when, what, where, how, and all those things we teach.
Yeah,
that is the scholarship she speaks after going to MD course.
A Sunday school would teach better stuff than what you learned in a seminary.
Let me that raises another important question, and let me come to that question. So Rajiv Malhotra takes this book, Survey of Old Testament or Church History, etc., and he says 2 kg, 1 kg. So out of this, what did you get? Nothing. That's how he kind of tries to put down on the Christian thought. I would like to ask, look at this. This is Rigveda.
Can you may think that is just a box. Why don't you open it and remove the Vedas?
Books.
Vedas. Why don't you remove it one by one so that they would know that it is not just put in a box. This might be everything together might be 10 kgs. Put it over it. Yeah, one more. Oh, Bibu would not be seen now. His face wouldn't be seen.
And there are more boxes here.
We can do exercise with this.
Oh yeah, with this.
I mean, this is what.
And the irony is not about these books. The irony is this. Kamakshi says the Hindu priests are not teaching anything to the kids.
See, that's a contradiction.
Isn't it a contradiction? She talks about when, what, where, why, etc. And she says the Hindu priests are not teaching their kids. With all of these hundreds of kilos, what do they get?
In fact, she says the Hindu priest only talks about scriptures which nobody understands.
Yeah. So is at least Rajiv Malhotra agrees with her?
Yeah.
I think he agrees. If they have both interviewed each other, I assume that they agree.
Mm-hmm.
That means the Hindu priests deliberately keep the masses in darkness.
Mm-hmm.
That means they teach in a way so that
people don't understand. Mm-hmm. When, what, where, why, they don't understand.
Yes.
Out of these hundreds of kilos, they don't understand anything. Is what the statement is.
Yeah. See, so we should ask Rajiv Malhotra, what kind of logic he follows, to make statements like that, and bring a scholar, claiming to be a scholar, and how could he not evaluate that she's a fake scholar?
In fact, this is also a comparison that we can make on the two worldviews. The Bible, in fact, demands that it should be taught to everyone without any discrimination, whatever. Go into the world and preach. It says, go make disciples of all nations. Okay, but when you look at the Manusmriti, for instance, there are injunctions, there are clear prohibitions of how a Brahmin is not supposed to teach the Vedas to the Shudra. And it also lays down the kind of punishments that must be meted out to Shudras who would hear anything read out from the Vedas. And a Brahmin is also threatened of suffering along with the Shudra in a hell called Asamvrita if he happens to ever recite anything from the Vedas in a Shudra's hearing. So no wonder the priest always presents the message in an obscure way that nobody understands it.
Yeah,
that might be intentional, is what I would say.
Right.
In fact, Manusmriti says that if a Shudra intentionally listens to the Vedas, there is a punishment that should be given to him. So, Rajiv Malhotra might be subscribing.
That again raises another question. Probably we will wind up the show with this last question, and we will resume again in the next episode with further more questions. Kamakshi always talks about being Brahmin Christian. At least in that video, she called herself Brahmin Christian quite a number of times. What do you mean by Brahmin Christian? Is there anything like Brahmin Christian? Or with that, what do you understand from that? The state of mind of Kamakshi. Was she really Christian? Or was she a Brahmin? Can there be a Brahmin Christian? Or is her state of mind still in that Sanatana Dharma?
In fact, Hinduism must be given the exclusive credit for dividing humanity into the 4 castes. Or with a 5th one, which is unmentioned, maybe.
Right. Yeah. No matter whether they convert the religion also. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, absolutely. So, as we all understand, this caste system is based on how, the people belonging to different castes came out from different hierarchical parts of the Brahma, like from the mouth, from the chest, from the thigh, and from the feet. Okay. But quite contrary to this worldview, the Bible, in fact, teaches that God created man in his own image, in his own likeness. So, in the Bible, in Christianity, in a faith that is completely Bible-based, there is no scope for anything like a caste. There is no thought of a caste discrimination even remotely in the Bible. And so, to call somebody a Brahmin Christian, is really a foreign expression. We don't even know what that is, in fact. There is no such thing as a Brahmin Christian or a Shudra Christian. A Christian is a Christian. And in fact, if somebody still wants to subscribe to the caste system, they can remain in Hinduism. But if somebody truly embraces Christianity, there is no place for casteism in Christianity at all.
Right. See, as I mentioned, Manu prescribes different laws for different people, but the Bible is very clear that there shall be one law for the native and
for the sojourner.
Yeah. So, the Bible is clear that there should be one law. But, she's saying that, she was a Brahmin Christian. The Bible is completely against that because the Bible is very clear and it says there is neither Jew nor a Gentile, neither Greek nor a Scythian. So the Bible is clear that there is no distinctions as such. When it comes to place of birth, somebody may be a Jew by natural descent, but that shouldn't be a means to show discrimination against. When a law is implemented, there should not be any partiality. But Manu is full of partiality and special privileges to the Brahmins, which the Bible is completely against. And maybe she didn't like Christianity because the way she's talking now, Brahmin Christian. Maybe she didn't have the elevated position in the churches as a Brahmin Christian. Or maybe she lost that elevated position in society.
She would have got otherwise.
Otherwise she would have got it. Maybe that's why she reverted. She seems to like the caste system so much now.
Okay, so finally, what do you say, George, to our viewers, especially those unthinking, very low people who can't ask questions, people, those gullible Christians, and also to those strong, Brahmanical and very scholarly people like Malhotra Sahab and people like Kamakshi? What do you have anything to say?
See, I would say that I would ask the Christians not to go by people like Kamakshi because scholarship is hard work, and I don't think she has put in that hard work to call herself a scholar. And moreover, she doesn't know many things. She doesn't know basic things. And first thing is, she attributes a conversion experience with a broad brush or a hasty generalization to entire Indian Christians, as if they're not critically thinking.
Right.
But a beginning of a Christian faith was like that. So many times she mentions, as if it was a shock experience, when somebody mentioned about apparent contradictions in the Bible. See, there's a world of difference between apparent contradiction and contradiction itself. And if being an intellectual, even our biblical critics, who are hard critics of the Bible,
like
Bart Ehrman, he understands between apparent contradiction, and in fact, she cannot be compared with Bart Ehrman. Sorry, I mean Bart Ehrman to an extent.
No, I'm not comparing her with Bart Ehrman.
He's a professor in a reputed college, and he knows the languages. So even as a critique of the Bible, who knows the original languages, he says that Jesus is historical, and he understands between apparent contradictions and contradiction itself. She doesn't understand such basic thing, and she calls herself a scholar, and she wants to critique Christianity now. Now, because of such things, and she doesn't know the original languages to speak about the the Bible as such. Now, why I'm saying again and again the original languages, when we produce videos, the Hindus, the people who support the Manuvad, they have come forward and said again and again, do you know Sanskrit? Do you know Sanskrit? See, I can read the Sanskrit script. I can go through historically whoever has written commentaries on the Vedas and things like that, and I can understand what their scriptures are saying. They don't want that. They want me to read Sanskrit. So I would expect, if you want to project yourself as a scholar, you better read the original text. Not an interlinear, not anything, just the plain Greek and Hebrew text. So she doesn't know all that. She doesn't know basic logic. Jay Gita, as I mentioned before, has critiqued her logical understanding. Her logic is when, what, where, then. Okay? I don't know whether she understands what a premise is, the terms of the premise, how the terms are related, what are those called, all those things I don't think she would understand. Maybe she has to, spend maybe another 50 years for her kind of, scholarship and lazy work to come up to such kind of understanding. So I would say, she shouldn't be taken seriously in that way. Why we are refuting, people may say, is there a contradiction because I'm saying shouldn't be taken seriously, then why are we refuting her? For people who are gullible, who may think that she's a scholar, we want
Hindus. You're talking about
for Hindus
Hindu
and for Christians too. My statement that she shouldn't be taken seriously, and our refutation, people may see it as a contradiction. But I wouldn't say that, because people should be shown what kind of a scholar she is. That's why we are speaking, and for the benefit of people, we want to expose her scholarship and tell people that this is her level, and because of this level of hers, she shouldn't be taken seriously.
Okay, what do you say, people? Yeah, about all of our viewers.
Yeah, in fact, if Kamakshi wants to leave Christianity, that is her personal choice. We have nothing to do with it, in fact.
Right.
But when she says the reason for leaving Christianity is some problem with Christianity itself, that raises concerns for us. And there are certain allegations she makes, like she says there are contradictions in the Bible. Secondly, she says that the defense that is given for the contradictions, the attempts that are made to resolve those contradictions, fail at every level of logic, of philosophy, of history, of whatever discipline of study you take.
Right.
It fails at every level. That is what she says. Now, so the burden of proof is on her.
Right.
To both present us with instances of contradictions and also to present us with defense that fails at every level. To show how they are contradictory, how the passages in the Bible are contradictory, and then also to show how the defense that we give does not suffice to resolve those supposed contradictions.
Right.
Okay. Once she, so all I'm asking is, don't just make allegations against Christianity. Furnish enough evidence to back up what you're saying, and give us a fair opportunity to examine. I mean, both Hindus and Christians, all the viewers, give all the viewers a fair opportunity to examine whether her criticism of Christianity is really valid or not. Because we can examine the evidence for ourselves and find out whether the reasons why she left Christianity are valid or not. I mean, are there truly contradictions in the Bible? I mean, does she really understand logic, and has she really properly analyzed? As she says, she's into reasoning and all that now. So has she really understood the logical implications behind every purported or supposed contradictions in the Bible? The reason why I'm saying that is she cannot even make a logical statement in a single line. The reason why I'm saying that is, in fact, I would say she cannot even consistently make a logical statement sometimes. Which is very evident from her video.
See, I would like to mention there about how consistent she is. In a single sentence, she contradicts herself and she calls herself a scholar. For example, she's speaking, Rajiv Malhotra, and she speaking about syncretism. From the conversation, actually,
this is
in the second video, psychologically, if you look at, syncretism is something new word. I think she
for her maybe.
For her maybe. That's how I felt from the way she spoke about syncretism. And she says, historically Christianity originated through syncretism and all that. And then she, in the same sentence, Rajiv Malhotra didn't interrupt her. And then she immediately says syncretism is only found in India. See, Christianity originated through syncretism. Syncretism is only syncretistic. Christianity is found only in India. So what does it show? That means Christianity has originated in India then. She doesn't know the implications of her own statements.
Right.
So that is the shallow level at which she speaks.
So Bibu says that people should discern well, see the evidence.
I'm asking for a very fair thing, in fact.
Fair.
Just give us an opportunity to see for ourselves the evidence that she's talking about. What are those contradictions which are really contradictions in the Bible? In fact, she says she was taken by surprise when she saw that there are contradictions in the Bible. Trust me, almost from my 8th standard or so, I've been playing with supposed Bible contradictions. Those are games for me, in fact. Because I've always interestingly found very convincing solutions from within the text of the Bible itself.
Right.
For every so-called contradiction. Right. So here is my challenge. In fact, and I'm only asking for a fair opportunity for all of us. Give us those contradictions. Why are you afraid of them? Because when she was here in India, she worked with another organization by name Shiva Shakti. All of us know that. And then also she promised us a series of videos, promising to present us with all evidences, archaeological, and logical and whatnot. So archaeological, maybe she's still digging out and bringing out information. So if she's done with all the digging, then we are ready to take the evidence and examine it for ourselves.
In fact, when you were 23, you wrote a book refuting Ahmadiyyad's allegations. And I think when she was 23, she was just I don't know what she was doing. She didn't encounter anything of scholarly level. And in fact, my conversion itself is because of questions. People came and asked me questions, and I, in search of answers, I became a Christian. Why people may think that I'm George. So are you not a Christian? See, Christianity is not like the Brahmin faith or Manuvad. Nobody is born a Christian. Like somebody born a Brahmin, somebody a Shudra. By birth, they are that. They cannot change. That's why they want the Shudras to always serve them. If they think it is their birthright, and see, Christianity is not like that. One should become a Christian.
See, for me, refuting Ahmadiyyad was fun because there was at least something to refute there. But this is so boring. There's no material to refute.
Well, yes, that is true. We have been waiting for years now. We have been waiting for almost, at least 1.5 years, waiting for the material that this scholar would bring up. And we are tired of, we are tired of waiting for those scholarly material. At least this time, not just allegations, but some material will come out from these scholars.
So that we can propagate the faith.
So from at least this time, these scholars will bring up something new, something for us to discuss and talk about. At least I would request, the so-called scholars of WhatsApp University, Rajiv Malhotra Sahab, at least this time you bring up some evidence for us to discuss about this. And last time we invited you, you ran away. This time at least, let us have a discussion, fair discussion. Thank you very much for watching.